Nice to meet you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Good morning. Samantha Johnson. Nice to meet you.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm Jessica. Nice to meet you.
Caleb.
Hi, I'm Jessica. Nice to meet you.
Rafa, everyone feeling well? Doing okay? Okay, so you know the rules. You have 20 minutes to talk, present your presentation. I will hold up signs when 5 and 2 minutes remain, and then I will rudely interrupt you when your 20 minutes are over. The judges then will have 10 minutes, or even the judges, to answer. But to ask questions, you have time to answer. Same game. I hold up 5 minutes, I hold up 2 minutes warning, and then I will stop. Nothing else will be considered. Any questions? Okay, then let me start my timer. What's my timer? Yes. There we go. Okay. Team Alpha, please start your presentation.
Well, good morning. We are Team Alpha. My name is Samantha. I'm joined by Kim, Jessica, and Caleb. And today, we will be covering the topics of NEDEC for their forward position strategy and their data privacy. So, what is our goal today? Today, we will utilize the innovation, or just the diffusion of innovation framework to provide NEDEC Motor Corporation with a solution that leverages the Internet of Things to create a strategic advantage. So, let's go over our outline for the day. First, we will cover some key challenges. Then we'll do an industrial analysis. We'll use that analysis to support our recommendation. And finally, we'll implement that recommendation. Now, I would like to hand it off to Kim to discuss some key challenges.
So our main key challenge is that NEDEC Motor Company wants to be able to capitalize on their expertise and their strengths to be able to leverage IoT applications to give them a strategic advantage in the industry. Within this key challenge, we have two different constraints. The first one is under strategy and positioning, where we want Foresight, the IoT application that's currently in place, to be able to benefit NEDEC company. And then our second constraint is under data protection and ownership, where we want this application to have the security that it needs to meet the demands of our customer and also meet NEDEC's standards. A brief overview of our recommendations includes a two-pronged approach. The first one is under customer communication, which will include a way for NEDEC to allow our customers to use Foresight applications. And then our second approach is to add an IoT department within NEDEC company. This includes an acquisition and headhunting, which we will get into a little bit later with more details. And then I will pass it off to Caleb for our industrial analysis.
Thank you, Kim. So in doing our SWOT analysis, some of the key strengths we found were a strong geographic presence globally, which should help in expansion. They have already invested a significant amount of money in research and development, particularly in the IoT field, which should be beneficial going forward and expanding. As far as weaknesses, we have seen a decreased net revenue in recent years, which has led to cash flow being an issue. And that is further emphasized by investments which are heavily dependent on the stock market. As far as opportunities, the electric motor market is growing currently. So with innovation, they should be able to expand sales for electric cars and broad array of electric motors. And the global consumer electronics market as a whole is projected to keep expanding. So plenty of growth opportunity there. As far as threats, there is intense competition in the industry that could impact sales and margins if they don't stay on the cutting edge. And finally, political regulations, which is always kind of an issue with such a strong global presence. In the 5 forces analysis, we have seen a decrease in supplier bargaining power due to new innovative shipping and warehousing options. Suppliers don't have quite the impact on the supply chain that they used to. There is a large number of competitors and the competition is intense. It's based on differentiation rather than price, which is important because it reduces buyer negotiating power. They need the features that they need, so they can't haggle on price once they've found a product that fits their needs. Substitution, because the Internet interconnectivity of electronics reduces substitution because it's so hard to switch. It's expensive, businesses don't want to switch. So low substitution. And then in the electric motor market, there are high startup costs. Designs are very complex, so barriers to entry are high. So while there is intense competition, it's not necessarily new competition. Having said that, I'll pass it to Jessica to get into our recommendations.
Fabulous. So we would like to take a first step by using the diffusion of innovation method through our two-prong approach. We will then discuss the customer communications aspect of our recommendation, which would be rolling out the Foresight option and product to our customers. Then we would like to add an addition of an IoT department, which would be comprised of acquiring a small firm. So the idea of using the diffusion of innovation isn't something new. It is actually a very popular text that's used by many technology companies to diffuse their innovation. What we would like to focus on is that by using steps 1, 2, and 3, it leads to a faster organizational innovation, which is a key aspect of what we want, is to make this innovation used quickly by our consumers and customers. But what we really want to focus on today is the individual leaders who support the change. There's been research found that if you have individual leaders who support change or change agents, that there is a 49 to 87% adoption rate of these technologies. So this is really our key point, is that we want to ensure that we are using these leaders to help innovate our product and get them on board, and then they will get their consumers on board. So we are going to do this by visiting our customer. So we really, even though we are introducing great new technologies that use the internet, we still want to have a face-to-face interaction with our customers. So by visiting our customers annually and introducing the Foresight product, we will be allowed to differentiate our product, and it allows this product to have a differentiation strategy that we really understand our customers' needs, and we can provide them with customizable data analytics, so they're getting exactly what they need from us as a provider and not a ton of extra data. Additionally, when we are selling this product to our consumers, we'd like to use the benefits and products attributes model. So we're definitely going to be stressing the many benefits that the Foresight product can offer them and can offer end users, as well as highlighting the many product attributes that will help their industries and business models to change and become more effective. Lastly, we know that it is crucial to address the effect that this new technology will have on their service industry. We want to make sure that we are maintaining a strong relationship management with them, because by doing that, we know that they know that we are not a threat to them. We just want to let them use our technology and the great Foresight product of sensors and use those data and collection methods to help improve their businesses. We will then educate them about this new product so they're fully understanding that we don't want to take them out of the picture. We want them to use our data, benefit from it, and let us benefit and learn as well. I will let Sammy talk a little bit about the addition of an IoT department.
Wonderful. And thank you, Jessica. So the second part of our plan is also very exciting. We use the diffusion of innovation, but we kind of turn it around in this part. We are the industry leaders, and we are going to adopt small entrances. What we need to signify is security and data privacy. One of the driving growth strategies that Nidec prides itself on is mergers and acquisitions. So why not keep that up? We've already had significant growth since 2013, and we would like to also enforce our motto with supporting dreams by acquiring a small, cybersecurity firm that specializes in the protection of cloud data and also extending security. So the responsibilities of this small firm would to oversee data privacy, oversee the ownership of our data collected by our sensors on the products that the sensors are applied to, and also analyze the data so that we can more efficiently take care of the products, and also share that data with the customers, with the service providers, and the end users, so that everybody can benefit from the efficient foresight product that we have come up with. So why is cybersecurity so important in the news these days? It's very convenient that we're covering the topic with the recent news. So with the string of high-profile security breaches, including Equifax and Facebook, the concern for cybersecurity is larger than ever. Companies who neglect this risk operational and social embarrassment, in addition to downturns in their revenues, and the list goes on. In addition, there are a new set of protection laws, data protection laws, that are not only being ruled out in the EU, but our research discovered that China is also ruling out data protection laws also on May 1st of 2018. So NEDEC needs to join the movement for corporate responsibility in identifying the weaknesses in our IoT programs so that these security breaches don't happen, and we are the leading industry provider in IoT systems without any of our customers or end users worrying about their data being breached from our sensors. These specific techniques include vulnerability management and identity access management. These are pretty common softwares when it comes to fighting security breaches and hackers. And so the two firms that we have considered in our acquisition process are Clarity and Indigi. Both of these firms actually boast that they are, although they are small, both firms are both composed of maybe 50 to 60 employees. They do lead the industry in vulnerability management and identity access programs. They also are internationally known. They have offices in Asia, the North Americas, and Europe. And they all have programs that detect, diagnose, and inform our clients and us so that we can stop the problem early. We don't have any security breaches and everybody can go about their day. A quick clarification. This chart is not a measure of liquidity. In fact, it's actually a chart showing the significance, the rise in the cash inflows in the IoT industry in the past and what is predicted in the future years. This graph was pulled from Bloomberg.com, just for reference. And we believe that this is just, if anything, the numbers speak. This tells us how important this is, and we need to get our foot in the industry by involving ourselves in these acquisitions ahead of time before the necessity grows too large. And now, I'll hand it to Jessica to finish up the recommendation.
So a quick financial analysis that we were able to run on NEDEC was to ensure that they are financially healthy, which is obviously very important when you're going to invest. So we found that the blue lines are the equity profit margin for NEDEC, and the lefts are the predicted analysis conducted by Bloomberg. And the equity current ratio states that the liquidity is around 1.5 right now for 2018, which is actually a great number and pretty steady to have a rate right around there. So you may be asking yourselves, why didn't we go with a different solution? Well, we thought of that too, and we actually thought about it for over 7 hours. We first thought about merging and acquiring our customers, and we decided against this because we knew that it would really hurt relationship management and really disrupt that industry, and we didn't feel that that was right. We thought about purchasing security services from a third party, which is sure something that comes to your mind, but we recognize that this isn't an easy case, and that's a really easy solution. We also found data and evidence supporting that the growth strategy for Nidec clearly states that they do not want to be reliant on the IT industry. They're actually looking to decrease that. So we knew that that was extremely important, that they do not want to really license or rely on another industry. We thought about licensing out our technology to our customers to use, but decided after seeing the exponential revenue growth and expansion of the market that we would really be missing out on an opportunity if we didn't keep the technology in-house. Lastly, we even thought about forced system adoption, but decided that our customers and relationship management would fail, and they could always go with other alternatives if we forced them to use a product that they weren't ready for. So we feel very strongly that our recommendation is the right way to go. So to address the main risk that you may be thinking of is the security concern. By using a small firm, the point can be made that maybe they are not the safest option. But this is actually the contrary, because we know that you can implement industry experts to lead a new firm. They may not be the #1 choice, but we know that Nidec is headhunting some of their best industry experts, and those people are currently leading the IoT department right now. And we know that if it's working right now and these people are doing great things and developing great products, that same model can be used on this new department. We know that we would be avoiding long-term costs associated with having to use a third-party security system, which usually it ranges from what we were able to find. It's usually about $70,000 a year, but long-term, that is very expensive. We also know that we would be losing a huge revenue and opportunity to get into a new market and expand the product portfolio of Nidec, and ultimately manage their data and product best, because nobody knows motors best than the person who's selling them. Lastly, we know and again recognize that Nidec does not want to be reliant on the IT industry. They're going away from that, so we know that putting the safety in their own hands to where when a concern arises, it's their #1 concern and it can be addressed right away is very important. I will now let Kim sum up our 5-year timeline.
Thank you, Jessica. So as an overall with our implementation methods, we want to definitely focus on a timeline that's going to get us to where we want to be as soon as we can. So we have actually already been on a timeline. In 2015, we did start the initiative with the IoT application, and we did partner with IBM Japan to start up this application. And then in 2016, we upgraded the factories to include this technology so that our own maintenance and equipment could be run efficiently and we can make repairs as needed. In 2017, last year, we continued to develop Foresight, and we rolled it out to Control Techniques in their waste and water waste systems, and they have been using that still today. Then we proposed for 2018, this next year, that we want to roll out Foresight to our customers now on a smaller base. And with the security aspect, we want to go ahead and start that acquisition process and get it going, so that by 2019, by the end of 2019, we can release Foresight to now the majority of our customers. And on the security side, we will have been finishing up the acquisition, and hopefully by 2020, we can be complete. And then at that point, we would move forward into the future with updates and fixes as needed. And I will let Kayla finish this up.
So just to reiterate, we recommend a two-pronged approach, the first of which is using the diffusion of innovation framework to sell the sensor and IoT technology to our consumers. The second is developing in-house IT and security expertise by recruiting top talent and purchasing either one of the 2 startup companies listed. So now we would be happy to field any questions.
Well, Alpha team, thank you very much. It was very interesting. You covered a broad scale. And I guess that's also the reason why we have a lot of questions. Let's see how many we get into these 10 minutes. Just let me back up a little bit and go into who are your customers? Who you target as a customer base? In the timeline 2017, small customers, before you go over into OEMs and the MROs. But for the marketing campaign, who you target first and with what message?
We thought it would be best to actually target a small, a medium, and a large industry to make sure that while we are working out the kinks of this, we are not only addressing small concerns of businesses, but medium and large, because we know a small concern, if we start out small, isn't always the case when you work with a large company.
Okay. So what's the core message? You mentioned the features and benefits of Foresight, but I understand you, Nidec, you're a motor company, not an IoT company. What's the message?
As far as the approach to marketing, the OEMs should really be on board with the IoTs because it allows them to continuously monitor engine performance.
Okay.
It's more accurate, and if they want to have the personal service touch, they can continue to send in-person representatives, but it's not necessary to send them as often if they're using these sensors. So it could improve their profitability if they use it correctly.
Who does the analysis of the data? You mentioned that's that new to be acquired company. They will do the analytics and then sell that to the industry, or not quite clear what you have in mind there.
Could I ask you to repeat the last half of that question? I do believe I couldn't hear as well.
Yeah, sorry
I do
about that.
apologize.
So you mentioned in your evaluation that the acquisition of a small company for security purposes and for the analytics of the data is what you recommend. And then what do you do with the analytical data? You're selling these data to the OEMs, or you're selling it to what customer base?
We would like to recommend that we let our customers use certain aspects of those analytics so that they can improve their customer efficiencies.
Okay.
But we also want to own the data and analyze the data as well, because we know that analyzing that can help us improve the product in the future.
Okay, that's a good point. Thank you.
Yeah, I think yeah, good job, all of you. I think you covered a lot of information. So it's like I was going through it. So I was trying to catch what is the key message. So the positive is you did a tremendous amount of hard work, and also some of the slides covered the SWOT analysis, that was good. You used the porters, the 5 forces, that was good, and also the rejected the alternatives and the 5-year timeline. So these are all some of the good nuggets of your presentation. So those I captured. But what I missed was the distillation of all this into some key messages and how to capture value. At the end of the day, in a business, that's what it's all about. It's how to capture value. For example, when you say we'll acquire the IoT firm, and then they will do all the work, that typically doesn't go well. I mean, although your thoughts are good, it's almost like saying, okay, how will you get good grades? Oh, I'll find a good tutor. The tutor will train me, then I'll get good grades. It doesn't fly. Right? I mean, at least you thought well, but some of those I felt you could have thought a bit more. But of course, I understand that you didn't have enough time. But one thing I appreciate is you did cover most of the things. So very broad, very in-depth analysis. But I think what I felt was you didn't take time to distill it into a few key points. But overall, good job.
Question on positioning. And Thomas was asking who is the customer, and you were saying you were going to go in and talk to the customer face to face. Do you view NEDAC going in with a service provider, talking directly to a customer, or is this NEDAC going directly to the the factors without the service provider involved. I'm trying to understand how the communication would work when my understanding is NEDAC is concerned about the service providers seeing this as potential competition.
And that is a very good point. In our interpretation of the case, we focus solely on just the communication of getting connected and building that interpersonal relationship with the OEMs to show them the significance of our product. That we will admit we didn't necessarily put too much time into incorporating the service providers, but that is a brilliant idea because they are a key role in what appears to be this golden triangle in the industry. We viewed the two in our interpretation of the case as service providers would also be beneficiaries of our product as well. So we also viewed going in there by ourselves without an OEM. If I am correct, and I believe maybe one of my colleagues can confirm that.
One of the things that we did focus on was, you're right, the OEMs do view the new IoT technology as a threat because they've been contracted to do service on the products that they sell. We didn't see any reason why the OEM could not use our technology to their advantage, though. That was what we wanted to emphasize. It doesn't preclude them from carrying out maintenance, it should assist them. So the OEMs would be our customer because we could be offering them a product that would make their jobs easier, it would make them more effective, and it would make their end customers happier. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I think the whole issue of positioning, when NEDAC has the product, are they working with the service provider to then talk to the customer, or is it NEDAC going? And that's why I think one of the questions, who is the customer? Is the service provider the customer, or is the OEM the customer?
Right. Or an end user, right? That was not quite
That was
clear in
another
your
question about the end user.
statements. Yeah.
Our interpretation was that the OEM would be the customer.
Uh-huh.
Of course, there are a lot of different ways to interpret it.
Yeah.
We felt that the sensors would really benefit the OEM, so we wanted to focus on them.
Okay. How do you avoid being in competition with your clients?
Because of the benefits that the sensors provide them. Like I said, it doesn't preclude them from continuing to do maintenance. We thought that they could bill it as continuous monitoring. The case mentioned that they were sending representatives out to their clients once a month to monitor the machines.
Right.
If they're using the sensors correctly, they can report to their clients that they're monitoring continuously for an issue. So it might be a change in the way that they view customer service,
Yeah.
but
Couldn't NEDAC do that, monitoring instead of the OEMs?
they could. We felt that that would put them in competition with
That's right.
the OEMs.
But it might be
So-
attractive. Yeah.
Right.
So that's quite a challenge.
We knew it would be an attractive offer, but we also knew if we upset our customer,
Yeah.
then they can always choose someone else. So customer's always king. We didn't want to upset the customer because then we were scared we might not have any customers. So
But how do
always
you-
wouldn't please them.
So, in your opinion, so what is the final product that you're selling and who are your competitors? So maybe give me a few thoughts on what is the product that you're selling?
We are selling a service. More like we're selling a product that has service capabilities that are optional to use. And we're selling them to OEMs who can use them to help reduce the amount of times that they're having to use service providers. But it also allows them to have the opportunity for those service providers to continuously ensure that their products are being run efficiently and being tracked and monitored.
So what happens if you were not to invest in IoT? What's going to happen with NEDAC? Just very general question.
Not to invest in the IoT, I do apologize, I'm hard of
Yes.
hearing today.
If you, NEDAC, were not to invest anything in IoT, what happens to you as a company?
I believe that we're a strong standalone company as it is without the IoT. I believe we would be missing out on an opportunity in an industry that we could clearly excel in. And I do believe that we've put too much research in it at this point to not succeed in it. But we are, at the end of the day, a very successful motor company, and we have plenty of customers worldwide, and I think they would still respect us for what we are, and we would respect them for what they are.
Okay.
But I would say it's important to remember that GE and Cisco have both invested heavily in IoT. So while Nidec could decline to invest in IoT, that would probably limit their growth potential in the future.
Good point, yeah.
Technology is always evolving, so we thought that we need to hop in on this opportunity,
Yeah.
learn with it, grow with it together. IoT is somewhat fairly new, so we know that we need to grow with that simultaneously as we're growing our product line.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim Alpbach. Your time is up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.